we do have some sad news as well on the show, because shortly before Christmas, at the end of November, I interviewed Johnny McKeagney, who has been described as the Sherlock Holmes of local history because of the way he's brought together so many bits of Irish folklore which would otherwise have been lost. Johnny published all of these bits that he's been collecting over the past 40, 50 years in a beautiful hardback illustrated book called In The Ould Ago, Illustrated Irish Folklore. If you want details about the book, go to the website www.folklorebook.com. And unfortunately, Johnny passed away in early December. We'd like to send our condolences to his wife Teresa and his family. But we were delighted to have interviewed Johnny before, as I say, just shortly before he died, about his book. And I began by asking him how he had spent the last 40 years compiling everyday images of Irish rural life, and I asked him why he decided to document Irish heritage in this way.
I remember when I left school, I thought there was nothing more to be found. Everest had been reached, the summit had been reached, and people had been to the North Pole, the South Pole. But in the shop, a customer would come in. I remember one particular man, Robbie Woods, and he would come in and he'd start telling me about old Tampo, about a fire where 3 houses were burned opposite where I lived myself. And I remember taking out a biscuit bag and writing these stories down. And then I showed Robbie a photograph one day of Tampo Main Street, and there was a building missing. And I said to Robbie, what was that? Oh, sure, that's the butter market. As much as to say, did you not know that? So from that on, I took an interest in things around me. And then later on, whenever I was able to leave the shop for an evening, I would take the dog, and her and I would walk a mountain or a bog or a townland, and I could write all this in at night. And I loved researching old houses, corn mills, lime kilns, corn kilns, and I came on this particular, I call it an earthworks, for I didn't know what it was, so I brought down an archaeologist from Belfast, and he couldn't tell me what it was. I had been then in touch with Chris McCarthy. He's an archivist in UCD, and he used to come up to Tampo with 3 or 4 students, and he sent me up a map of the area that I'm talking about, and on the map I could just plainly see at every farm there was a corn kill, and that's what these earth mounds were.
But the book really has much more than just that, because you've got all of these amazing illustrations and descriptions of everything included with the illustrations. Yeah. So it's an incredibly ambitious project, and it's bigger than your regular book. It's, I don't know what size that would be.
A3.
Maybe A3. Yeah. So it's A3, and all of these illustrations and the writing, an amazing amount of time and effort went into it.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about the illustrations and how they came about.
I think I remember a book at school on the Chinese people, and I remember seeing this beautifully dressed Chinese girl. I remember thinking, that picture tells an enormous amount more than what the text tell you. So I think I got that into my head, that people would like pictures, and therefore anything that I could record in picture form, I attempted it. And it mightn't have been easy to start off, but eventually got through it and did it.
Well, I think you're being far too harsh on your own, because it's like you had a professional taking things from photographs. They're so... It captures exactly even on the cover, the fireplace and the house cricket and all of the items. You have a real skill in that area.
I didn't start drawing until I was 27 years of age, and I think it must come through my father and his father. They were great painters, and they made their own paint, they made their own putty, they made their own carts and traps, and they had their own forge, and they employed people. So I think it comes through hereditary.
And do you think we've lost an awful lot of our kind of culture and our heritage? Because you talked jokingly about Starsky and Hutch being on the TV in the 70s in your introduction. And in a way, we've become very Americanized in terms of our houses and the things we watch and what we do, that we don't really have the old kind of things that you have captured so brilliantly in this book.
Yes, I noticed in my time in the shop, and I noticed an awful lot of, would call them antiques, were going off to England and off to America, and I thought I would hold on to a few of them, so I started to collect as well, and I have a little collection. But I think then, when I was doing the book, I could refer to the collection and the tools that I have and draw them. It's just a combination of life.
And if people want to buy the book, there is a website and they can get all the details about it.
The website is www.folklorebook.com.